Tell me about that face, I asked, and the backstory changed everything. You know, being in the mortgage business can be incredibly rewarding, and sometimes it's just hard and trying. And recently I had a couple of rough days, bad night's sleep, and that day we had what was really a great event. It was a big realtor luncheon. It went very successfully, and by the time 7 p.m. rolled around, I actually didn't really want to go to the launch party for one of our agents' new firms. And I didn't want to go, but I committed to it, so I went. And you know, about 2 hours later, one conversation changed everything. So this launch party was being held at a restaurant owned by a loyal client of ours. In fact, she and her kids and family members have done, I think, 6 loans with us now over the last 3 years. So the family moved here from Cuba in 2015. And in 2017, she and her husband decided to buy a small local restaurant in their community. They felt like this would be a great way to keep the family bond really tight knit and have a place for the kids to work and for them to be around each other all the time. Things were going well, and about 3 months later, though, tragedy struck. And Mrs. O's husband and her daughter were in a car accident, and her husband passed. So they had a decision to make, she said. They could pack up and go back to Cuba, or they could stay here and try and make a go of it. And they chose to stay here and make a go of it. The restaurant went really well. And then toward the end of COVID, they decided we're gonna open a second location, a bigger one. And it gave more management opportunities for her kids to step into that role. And that's where the restaurant, where the launch party was. It was at that newer, bigger restaurant. Things are going really well. And Mrs. O explained all this to me leading up to about the face. She said, when we opened this restaurant, we decided to make the logo the face of my husband, so he would always be with us, and we would always remember him. My wife, Lynn, had already been talking to Mrs. O when I walked up and asked the question about the face on the logo. I don't know that I would have gotten that story without Lynn having already opened her up, talking with her, because Lynn has this knack of getting people to speak from the heart. And having heard that story changed so much for me. It made everything so much more meaningful. And I realized that when we're helping people get homes, some people, yes, they're getting a mortgage and they're expected to get a mortgage. That was always an expectation in their lives. And for other people, it was a dream they never thought could happen. And this was one of those. Either way, there's a story behind every home that's not just a loan. When things get challenging now, I'm committed to having more meaningful personal conversations with people to really learn the background, because that backstory does change everything. And I've learned that there's inspiration around us, and getting to that inspiration leads to motivation, appreciation, energy, and enthusiasm. And it helps us remember why we're in this business, and it helps motivate us to be our very best every single day and to help as many clients achieve their dream as possible.